Hi, it's been a hot minute. I haven't been as active as I would like to be. So, firstly, I would like to apologize to whoever's watching, who has been following me. Thank you for still being around. And I know I mentioned that I would like to do at least a video vlog once a month, but life kind of caught up the last couple of months and I haven't been as active as I want to be. Same with my ceramics journey, but I think it's really important for me to sit down and catch up with you guys, just to let you know what's been going on and what I have planned moving forward. And I also want to apologize to myself. Maybe I haven't been living to the kind of standards I've upheld from the start of the year, but I also understand things happen. So in that manner, I wanted to just do a brief catch-up and talk about what has been going on throughout this year-long career break, and also what's upcoming for me in the new year. First thing first, for those who are new and here for the first time, I'm Ming. I am a spatial visual designer in a very niche industry. So I used to design experiences in museums and exhibitions, and I focus mostly on the visual elements, the visual branding of the space, but I also help out with the conceptual spatial design. So I used to take a lot of pride in what I do as a museum designer, and I really enjoyed that part of me working in the industry. I was in the industry for probably 5-6 years now, and I've been working as a graphic designer for more than a decade. So what prompted me to take a career break? I think a large part of me last year was feeling rather burnout, because I think at the point where you reach a more higher role in the company, you have much more responsibility, and it's not just doing creative work, right? That you still have to manage a team, you need to work with other people, you need to manage clients. So the bulk of my time was spent doing that rather than creative work, which I still enjoy because then I get to grow a team of designers and also learn from them. So, but I think a part of me didn't felt as satisfied because I wasn't creating works that I was proud of, or didn't have enough time to create creative works that I wanted to do. Because after all, you're working for a client, right? You have a mission, you have a goal, you have to work with many people and learn from one another to create this whole space together. So throughout the bulk of last year, I felt like I needed to do more to kind of fit into my hunger for creativity. So I started exploring ceramics more seriously. I rented a space at a studio in Mubi, and I spent most of my time after work on weekends going to the studio just to hand build stuff and learn and grow from the people I've met there. I also tried to explore being a tattoo artist. I took on a very basic course that's about a month long to learn how to tattoo on fake skin. I think a part of me still want to become a tattoo artist someday, but I think the right now I would like to focus more on being a ceramic artist, right? So towards the end of the year, while I was much more confident in my craft as a ceramicist, I also realized it's hard to juggle a full-time job and this hobby, right? And I really wanted to see how far I can go as a ceramicist. I thought it would be a time for me to, one, kind of take some time off to kind of heal from my burnout phase, and also two, to see if I could pivot to something more tactile, that has more intentional, that I can make things with my own bare hands. So then I really wanted to become a ceramicist. So that was why I decided to take on a year-long career break and give myself that year to kind of practice ceramics more seriously, right? So a funny side story, I think I haven't shared this as much on my online platform, is funny enough is that every time when I decided to quit my job because of burnout and move on to take a break without a plan ahead, somehow my body just seems to break down. So this time around, it's the same thing. I was hospitalized for about a week or so. I had a slip disc incident, and I think it was also a sign that my body is telling me, oh, you really need to rest. So it was quite a scare for me in terms of my health, and I know that I haven't been looking after my physical health as much as I want to when I was crazily running around doing so much stuff while I was juggling a full-time job. But somehow that incident kind of made me take a long break from everything that I've planned. It kind of just changed up my whole plan entirely. So for the next month or two, I couldn't do anything because a lot of the time I was spent at home resting. My body really needed the rest. And there's not much I could do. I was just laying down in bed most of the time. I couldn't even do some slight productive work. I didn't touch clay at all for that 2 months or so. And I wasn't in a very happy state. And also during that time, I kind of distanced myself away from everyone as well. I think I just needed time to heal and make sense of, oh, can I get through this by myself before I'm ready to kind of step back and reconnect with the world. So that kind of set the tone, ironically, for my career break. It really told me to, hey, you really need to take a break seriously and slow down and stop squeezing so much of your energy and doing so many things at once. I was also feeling anxious, right? Because my next biggest plan was my residency in Europe, in Finland, right? I had a residency lined up for 2 months, and I was going to fly to Finland at the end of May, right? And at that time, after the incident happened, I was wondering, oh, am I able to still do this residency? Or should I be canceling it and spending the time resting instead? I think that was kind of the biggest struggle. I needed to make a decision, right? But I ended up telling myself and seeing that as a push to say that yes, the residency still has to happen because it was all that I was planning for, right? The whole reason why I wanted to take a career break to focus on ceramics was also to experience this residency too. So I worked towards it. I make sure that I was resting and looking after my health, and I'm all rested up so that I could go for this residency, start afresh, and really focus on what I wanted to do. So fast forward to mid-year, I went for this residency 2 months at Hub Phoenix, and you can watch some of my older vlogs of the adventures I had through Europe. I spent 2 months in Finland at the residency, probably the most fruitful thing I've done this year. I've learned so much and met so many interesting people, so many encouraging words and experiences that help solidify what this career break meant for me this year, and also gave me so much confidence to push forward as a ceramicist. Yeah, I also spent the next 1 month after my residency traveling around Europe, and that was like a dream for me because the very last time I was in Europe was my first solo trip to Netherlands, which was almost 12 years ago, and I haven't stepped foot into Europe since then. And I told myself the next time if I ever have a chance to go to Europe, I would like to spend a long, extensive period of time there just to travel around the different countries, which I did. So the 3 months far away from home was probably the biggest highlight for me this year. I came to grow so much and learn so much about myself, and also further my practice as a ceramicist. So some of these questions that I get asked quite often is like, why did I choose to go on a residency? And why did I choose to go to Finland, for example? For me as a ceramicist, I am quite a stubborn learner, so I didn't take on any form of apprenticeship or didn't do a diploma or an actual studies education path in ceramics or clay, right? I kind of just picked it up by myself, learn and explore through playing, and also just a lot of like self-study, watching YouTube videos, reaching out to other ceramicists and kind of learn from them. And that's how I like to grow as a person, in a sense. I kind of like to figure things out on my own terms. So why did I decide to go to Finland and go to this particular residency? This residency is called Hub Phoenix. I spent 2 months there. And why I chose it in the first place, it's a very interesting place because it used to be an old sanitarium which they converted to this like art retreat place, and it's located in the middle of nature, and there's a lake nearby. So going there, I feel like I could spend a lot of time by myself, surrounded by nature, and there's no distractions. I'm not like embedded into a busy city that would probably distract me to go and visit the city and just enjoy life. I would rather much be located in a more secluded area and focus on my craft. And because of where we are located, I spend most of my time in my studio, and most of the artists I met there was also spending a lot of their time on their craft during their residency stay. So that was really helpful because that gave me a very clear-minded state of what I needed to do, right? So that 2 months was probably the most enriching experience I had this year, and it really helped me focus on making clay. So the next question I get asked a lot is, what does this residency meant for me and what did I get most out of this residency? I think first thing is an experience that I can never quite put it entirely into just a few simple words. The people I've met there, the work that I've done, the events that I went to, the daily routine that really helped me to get into the mode of creation. Everything there felt so perfect. Like I could imagine if I could go there once a year, perhaps I could just do a residency once a year. I think I would be most satisfied with my life, right? And what do I get most out of this residency? I think it really solidified my confidence to become a ceramicist. Moving forward, I think I found my skills, techniques, the kind of clay that I like to experiment with, how I like to create, and the things that I like to make, and what's my identity as a ceramicist. I think ever since coming back from that trip, I felt like I could have a clearer sense of how I want to move forward. A change of location. I think next thing I want to talk about is coming back to Singapore, right? What were some of my struggles, and also talk a bit about my absence from the platform and also my craft. How do I feel coming back home after being away for 3 months, right? I think the first biggest struggle is that I know that I'm coming back to reality, right? During my 3 month stay there, it felt like a fever dream. I was having the best of my life. I didn't have to answer to anyone besides myself, and I could really just focus on doing the things that I want to do. So coming back home, back to reality, is that first thing, of course, is to reconnect with the world I have here, my friends, my families, and I haven't been connecting with them as much while I'm away. That's usually how I travel, because I really just want to take some time out for myself. So coming back home, there's a lot of like social applications. I think people were interested to also hear about my experiences in Europe and how I'm doing now and what are my plans moving forward. So I spent a lot of time reconnecting with people. At the same time, I was also a little stressed out because of financial stability, right? I think one thing that perhaps I didn't put into my most careful consideration is how much I needed to set aside for this 3 months Europe trip. So it was largely okay. The first 2 months at my residency, honestly, I didn't spend much at the place. And it's the month long of traveling through Europe got me eating more into my savings, because I didn't realize how expensive Europe cities can be. So coming back home is no exception. I was kind of worried about meeting month's needs, and I got into a couple of jobs, freelance jobs, for the next couple of months, and that was all I could kind of focus on, because I was really worried about not having enough money to last me till the end of the year. So I was just focusing on freelancing and also reconnecting with my friends mostly. So that kind of explains a little bit about why I didn't have the time and energy to create, right? But there's also another part of me that felt a little lost coming back home. I think in Europe I got kind of comfortable and confident to tell people that, oh, I'm an aspiring ceramicist. I hope to make ceramics as my career path in the future. I feel like in Europe, you have more possibilities to pursue a creative career. And not to say they don't have their struggles, they too have the struggles. I just feel like perhaps they have more opportunities, they have more spaces for you to engage in this kind of like artistic community or to sell your works as compared to Singapore. So coming back home, I think I felt a little lost in terms of the direction that I wanted to head towards, because even during my residency, there was a new style that emerged, right? And I feel like always this new style has a little bit more Asian influence to it, something that's more marketable towards the local community. And I think for the biggest and struggle that I faced coming back is also I was still trying to decide which direction I wanted to focus. The Hands and Feet series, which I've been doing for so many years, or this new direction of this whimsical half portraits that I started exploring during my time in my residency. And for the next couple of months since I'm back, I couldn't create anything because in my head I was stressing over, oh, I should just pick one style and focus on that. And it feels like a very impractical thought to other people whenever I talk to my friends about, oh, just do it. But it felt like this obstacle in my brain that's stopping me from creating. Maybe it's also an excuse because I was so busy doing freelance work too. So it got to a state that I got frustrated because I wasn't spending time to create works, and I was giving myself so much excuses as well. So then I decided that I needed some form of structure, right? I think that's one thing I also want to talk about, is that being on a career break, the biggest struggle is the fluidity, because having no structure makes it seems like, oh, it's all good, right? There's no stress. You just do whatever you feel like doing at any given time that you want. But at the same time, not having any structure makes it hard for you to be productive, to be disciplined. Because of that, I needed some form of structure in order to get me excited about creating clay again. And that's when I started doing live streaming, right? That's something that I wanted to explore because I miss creating and also talking through my process while I'm creating. And I used to live stream playing video games and just talking about my thought process as I play the games. And I thought, why not do that for my clay, right? So I thought in a way that structured time frame will be helpful for me, because then I get to set aside every day, not every day, about 2 to 3 times a week. There's a dedicated time slot for me to, hey, I need to get on stream and maybe spend 1 to 2 hours creating clay and stream my process, right? It didn't matter to me if anyone was watching. It's more so of creating a dedicated routine for me, so that it forces me to, okay, this is the time that I need to clock in for clay making, right? And that was helpful. I think that was really helpful for maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I got lost in work again. I think this was about November, right? October, November, I think I was getting a lot more stress, because at the same time, after coming back from Europe, I felt like my backaches from my slip disc incident was coming back, right, I was having all these pains from my back and pain in my knee, possibly due to moving around too much. When I was in Europe walking a lot, I was walking around 20k steps a day for a whole month, right? And in Europe, the ground was so uneven, so I think I might have overworked myself or have some form of like injury that I wasn't being careful again. So coming back home, I was also battling that between the financial stress, also that my body needed a lot of rest. And it got to a point where I was so frustrated in everything that I'm doing, right? And the only thing that makes sense, surprisingly, was my freelance work, because that was the only form of structure and stability in my life during that time. And the other stress I want to talk about was that because I needed to heal from whatever my body was going through, I decided to go for a treatment, right, to get myself checked in terms of, hey, is my sleep disc coming back, or is it something else, right? So I took an x-ray and found out that I actually am suffering from a case of myosclerosis. My spine is kind of like not straight. It was due to years of bad posture and bad habits. So that was a good thing. Not that I have this thing that I needed treatment. It's more so I finally found kind of reason why I've been having this kind of aches as well as frequent migraines, because of all these bad habits that I've cultivated throughout the years. Not in a good way, right? But then I decided to take on 3 months to 6 months long of treatment, which again was also a stress for my financial side of things, right? But I needed it because in order for me to heal, I needed to go through this treatment, I feel. So for the month of November, I was just working freelance through the entire month, right? My work hours were crazy. I sometimes worked till 2, 3 a.m. just to make sure I have enough money to pay for my treatment and also kind of feed myself for the next couple of months. And because of that, once again, I stopped my live streaming thing. I also didn't have as much time to create. And now it reached a state where I think I didn't know what's next, right? I was, after the busy month of November, I finally could have some downtime this month to figure out what's next, to kind of wrap up a reflection for my year-long career break, and also to spend a bit of time to do the things that I want to do, which is making clay, right? So this is why I'm here, why I finally had time to sit down after a long yapping session to update you guys on what's been going on. I know I've yapped a lot, but I think here comes the more exciting part of this catch-up session, is that what's Mimomit gonna be in the year 2026? I think many things. I actually have a lot of things lined up. I think the struggle that I was initially facing in terms of which direction I should take, I kind of have make a decision or have come to a conclusion. I think the biggest struggle of that, I felt like I was trying to separate my sense of being a designer as a labor from me being a ceramicist, right? There's this part of me that says like, oh, I used to be a designer, but now I want to be an artist. And I keep seeing these two labels as that they only can exist exclusively by themselves. But for me, recently I came to the conclusion that why am I trying so hard to separate the different parts of me and compartmentalize them into different boxes? That shouldn't be how I want to move forward. Instead, I think I should take a lot of pride in what I've experienced and what I've come to build in my identity for so many years, and not throw away things that I've learned, and really just embrace myself in everything that I've learned, and use it, everything that I've known, into my practice and whatever I want to concentrate on moving forward. So it's a reconciliation of the designer part of me and the artistic part of me into the next phase of Mimo Meet. So just a little preview of what's coming. I'm doing a rebrand of Mimo Meet Studio. There's a lot of things lined up. A lot of the things are not solidified yet. There's still ideas in my head. I really need to sit down and kind of work through the final details. I think one thing I also like to change up a little bit is, instead of talking about it so much or yapping so much, I think in 2026 I would like to tell you the things that I want to do by showing you instead of preempting you, in a sense. So when I talk about it, things are already in motion and moving along, and I don't want to talk about the hefty dreams and goals that I have set for myself next year, which I did, but instead I want to focus on doing and showing rather than talking about it. But yeah, I just want to say, if you are watching all the way or you've skipped through some parts to get to the information you want, thanks for staying, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting this channel and my journey as a ceramicist. I am not giving up and I'm not disappearing. I will still be around next year, and it's going to be an exciting year for me. So I hope you will continue to follow me along this journey, and more exciting things will come. And I also hope you have a great year. And if you are also wondering to maybe take some time out, take a career break, and you need some advice, or just you have some questions or just feel free to drop me a comment, message me on my Instagram, anything at all. I'll be more than happy to connect. I think I want to build a two-way community where we can learn from one another. Alright, I'll see you in my next video, which I hope I have time to do. I would like to do one more video this year, just to kind of be a glimpse summary of everything I've done this career break. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.